So to our next speaker is Professor Enrique Barros, who is a past chair of our Wonka Working Party on Planetary Health, and he's a rural family doctor. And that's all he wants me to say about him. So, Enrique, thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes? So, just to thank Karen and the host committee for inviting me and recognizing the elders of the land, beautiful land, and say that I'm a big fan of the art of the elders here in Australia. Before I start, I want to say that one of my points is that you don't need to know that you're a green doctor to be a green doctor, just like an electric car, right? So it's a very big crowd. I'm nervous. And Alan, I can't see him, our provost of the Working Party, we have this joke that if we have, I think I'm going to have to put my hat again. So much light. No, just kidding. So if we have more than 5 people in the room in our workshops, it's a success. So I think this is a success, Alan, wherever you are. Okay, so the World Health Day in 2022 was Our Planet, Our Health. So on that day, our Working Party said that we should start thinking 1 minute for the planet. Now, why think about the planet? Because if we go examine the patient and we check his symptom signs, this is what we find. I'm a big fan of Laerte, the cartoonist, Brazilian. So in 2019, Wonka called for family doctors of the world to act on planetary health. This is the old version of the European definition of family medicine. I'm not going to go into detail, except to say that it was a flying tree. And now, in 2023, they put Earth. They discovered the Earth. So, and over here, we have planetary health, along with One Health and sustainability as the bedrock. So I think that's showing the signs that we're waking up. Let me tell you a story about planetary health. So when the Americans went to the moon, they took this picture, and people just realized that we live in this little blue dot or planet that is beautiful and finite. And we just discovered this, and we're still trying to understand how we belong and who we are. And we, in sort of ways, are the planet, just like this baby is discovering himself. So we live in the Anthropocene, the age of humans, the epoch of humans, the geological epoch of humans. It's no longer dinosaurs, volcanoes, tectonic movements. It's humans that are shaping the Earth. This is why it's called Anthropocene. And if we take a picture now and compare it to 100 years ago, 100 years ago, you wouldn't see anything. But now, the biosphere, at night, you can see that we're the major actor on the planet. So Anthropocene is good. We're increasing life expectancy, reducing poverty, and child mortality. But the model of development, we're destroying our resources, polluting everything, carbon dioxide, ocean acidification, energy use, tropical forests, water use, fertilizer use. This is a way to look at planetary health. So we have our individual patient. Maybe around here, we have environmental health, public health, global health, One Health, which was really created to talk about SARS-CoV-1. And they were studying how zoonoses and other infectious diseases would jump from animals to humans. And this is the one I like the most. It was born with one family doctor contributing a lot, Andy Haynes, which is very important to the Working Party. And it tries to understand the interactions of all these models and the interaction between the harms of the humans on nature and how it feeds back on us. But because we had primary care at the conception of the model, health equity is at the heart of it. So this is the point I think that Meira was trying to make. Now, this is a simplified model of the way I think about planetary health, inspired on Myers. So we have population, explosion, technology, which is really decoupled from nature, and consumerism. So we produce a lot of pollution, overexploitation, and again, with inequitable social determinants, we have deleterious health effects. This is just to show the limits of the planetary boundaries. It's all in red: climate change, biodiversity extinction, a lot of fertilizers killing the waters, novel entities, which we don't understand how they interact, but they're doing harm. This is the pollution we have, and at the top, we quantify this. So 9 million die of pollution, 7 million of air pollution, and 2 million of bad quality water. Down here, we don't really understand how the chemicals and pollution, many kinds of pollutions like pesticides or microplastics, how they kill us or how they cause harm. We haven't quantified it yet. This is not good. So Wonka recognizes the climate emergency, and this is by Andy Haynes, who is a science advisor to the Working Party. So we have pollution and associated with greenhouse gases, and it kills us directly. Meira was mentioning it. Rises the temperature and causes extreme event weathers. You have a lot of them here in Australia. Heat stress. A lot of the smoke comes and kills Australians. Bad quality water, like infectious disease, leptospirosis, cholera, malnutrition, mosquitoes and their families right near. And then hundreds of millions of people will be displaced because many places will be inhabitable. I like this from Courtney. She's also a colleague. So the planet is our nest. And when we talk about social determinants, many times we forget the nest. Only 20% of our health status depends on the health services. So if we want healthy families, we need healthy nest. This is one model of planetary health, which I contributed representing Wonka. So at the heart, we have interconnection within nature. We're not separate from nature. This is a problem with the technology system we have now. We act as if we were separate, but we're discovering that we're interconnected within nature, with everything. And indigenous peoples, certainly in Australia, understand that as a cultural thing from millennia. And the Western science seems to be just learning now, like the baby. So we need to understand Anthropocene and health to build movements for systems change, which Neira was so good at showing. But we need systems thinking and complexity. We don't have simple solutions. in order to get health equity and social justice. So this is really where we want to get, health equity. Now, health, so we have to always think of our oath, do no harm, first do no harm. But the healthcare systems contributes 4% of the overall greenhouse gases in the world, sort of like the fifth country. So now the Lancet Commission on Sustainable Healthcare, I am representing WONCA along with Karen. And there's a lot of engineering behind it, but what I'm trying to focus is that we need to move from lower care quality to high care quality. At least in a very big country, very, very rich, they have weak primary care, and that's probably one of the reasons why they're polluting the most, which is the US. Versus strong primary care that avoids overuse and overtreatment, which is a big deal for climate change, and has a lot more good impact in health equity. Now, this is the only paper that actually measures, let me see how much time, it's good, that actually measures health actions and footprint, carbon footprint. This is the only one. So we need a lot of them. So a lot of you could work with that. So they showed that good management of diabetes reduces complications that can be measured, and avoiding overuse. They can be measured, and they can measure how much carbon was last produced, last released. So this is a big deal for us. We already do this. We do it very well, and we do it holistically. Another big thing is asthma sprays. They have a propellant that is very, very effect of greenhouse gases, and they're responsible for 0.03% of all the greenhouse gases that everyone emits. So it's very, very important that we move to dry powder inhalers. And actually, the Working Party on the Environment, and by the way, it's no longer Working Party on the Environment, it's Working Party on Planetary Health. Sometimes my mouth stucks. It's hard to speak in English. You know, it's my second language. Okay, so this is where I live and work. It's in the lower bottom of Brazil, on the tip, touching Uruguay. And I live in the mountains, so it's colder than the rest of Brazil. It's not tropical, it's subtropical. And this is important for the case I'm going to show you. And whenever I can, I try to think 1 minute for the planet in the clinic. This is where I work, around 1,000 people here. So I saw this child and mother. She brought this girl with fever and rash, and I diagnosed dengue. We never had dengue before. That's summer of this year. Never. So I had to actually confirm it by a lab. So I made the first ever diagnosis of dengue in my town. So I gave her evidence-based medicine. I avoided ibuprofen, those drugs, NSAIDs, yeah? That can make dengue get worse. So you probably need to learn there, because chances are that if we don't avoid climate change, you'll need to know how to treat dengue. And then her mother said, "Oh, doc, I have some dyspnea." And I diagnosed long COVID exacerbated asthma. And, well, I gave her dry powder inhaler, because also, at least in Brazil, it's associated with corticosteroids, beta agonists plus corticosteroids. So it's better for your asthma, the last guidelines. And Well, I had 1 minute more, so I explained to her that the future of diseases and health for her child had a lot to do with climate change. And I told her that perhaps she could avoid excessive red meat consumption. We eat a lot of that. We're closer to Argentina. And that would avoid knocking down the Amazon forest, because a lot of its destruction is to raise cattle. And of course, avoid cars and fossil fuel. You already know that. Now, another thing that I want to try here with you is to show how 1 minute for the planet could work for primary care. So, of course, in the center, we have patient-centered care, evidence-based patient-centered care. Here we have the principles of primary care as Barbara Starfield defined. So we have access, continuity, comprehensiveness, and coordination. I try to make them strong in my clinic. Then it follows that you know the family, you know the culture. Actually, many of them speak German in my community, but not the Hoch-German. They say Platz German, Hunsrück, which is not written. So I had to learn some German that is not written, can't be taught, just so. But I speak like keywords, right? So, and then community orientation, of course. And then it follows that you need to think bigger. You need to think planetary health orientation. Actually, Pilar, I think it was Pilar that suggested orientation instead of the other word that I had put. Now, if we go again to that simplified model of how we harm nature, we'll see that with population, we see that when they have good health, well-being, it tends to stabilize, especially if they have access to reproductive rights. Then, technology. Primary care doctors are good at holistic and nature-based solutions. So really a conceptual, spiritual, technological model for the whole of science. And sometimes this is why our colleagues at secondary and tertiary care don't understand why we do things. And I think this is part of the answer. Consumerism, we always try to be patient-centered care and try not to be money-centered care, so avoiding determinants of commercial medicine, right? Because it's bad for our patients. Pollution, overexploitation. Family doctors usually are more effective with less. So this is why it's cheaper, right? And it's more efficient, and we can also do education to our patients, communities, and to politicians and stakeholders. Inequitable social determinants. Well, Barbara showed that a strong primary care, so Neda, make sure that when you talk about climate change, you talk about strong primary care, please. Then I'll be happy. And then, of course, who will deal with the effects of acute disasters, and especially, as I learned yesterday with disaster management, most of the more problematic effects are chronic. I won't get into details, but guess who is going to deal with them? So key messages. We are planetary health doctors, even if you don't know. If you do good family medicine, evidence-based medicine, you are green doctors. Think 1 minute for the planet in your clinic. And this is a message for the philosophers or thinkers, researchers academics of primary care. I would ask Barbara Starfield, but she's not here. Can you please put in their planetary health orientation with the other Barbara Starfields and her team identified primary care principles? And so now that we have the earth, I think that the tree of Wonka Europe should know that it's ready to blossom. Thank you very much. Should I go down? Yeah? Oh, okay.
Thanks so much, Enrique. And
Yeah.
I think I'm going to keep repeating, we are green doctors. So wonderful statement for us. For everybody's information, this year Wonka is dedicating World Family Doctor Day, which comes on May 19th, to the environment. World Family Doctor Day, I think Michael's sitting in the front row, though it's hard to see, was first celebrated during Michael Kidd's term as Wonka president. So stay tuned for promotion of the environment on May 19th. Also today at 1 o'clock, so today at 1 o'clock, those of us who are wearing green, you in your cap, Enrique, and Maria, you in your fantastic dress, are going to meet at the reception. There's some press conference and we hope to get a mega photo of family doctors, green doctors in green. So please join us, as well as signing the petition where you can get the QR code at the Wonka booth. Another little housekeeping. In this auditorium, someone left a Dell laptop yesterday. So if you can look under your seat, check. If you find something, it needs to go to customer services. Now, we weren't going to have time for any question, but we have got time for something for Maria. Do you want to come up on stage again? Because I think we've had a fantastic double plenary here, and each speaker's complimented the other. But there have been a lot of messages between the two of you, and I'm sure everybody's taking something home. So we're giving you something rather heavy to take home to Brazil and Europe, I'm afraid. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Well done, Enrique.
Very nervous.
So we'll see you in green at 1 o'clock or at morning tea now, scanning that QR code. Thank you, everyone.